Hey everybody, Stephen Bogren here from Pro Physique, and today I'm talking about how eating clean might not be enough. Ooh, that is a way to start a video. Gotcha, got a little gotcha. I do want to talk about how eating clean might not be enough, but I also want to be very clear that eating clean and choosing nutrient-dense foods can do us a lot of good depending where we're at. And so for those of you who are maybe not making any real significant choice of foods and you're just getting kind of what's available and what's convenient, eating clean, making that move over to those, quote unquote healthy foods may be a real huge benefit in terms of what you are doing with your nutritional choices. And that can make a huge impact and benefit on our lives for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, you can talk about just the calorie change, the reduction in total calories by going from less nutrient-dense food sources, things that are like fast food that are going to be high in saturated fats, fried, oils, those kind of things, to less calorie-dense, more nutrient-dense foods. Things like vegetables, lean proteins, fruits, those kind of things. So just in and of itself right there, we have this huge reduction in calories, which can be a huge benefit for us if we just need to lose some weight and we don't need to necessarily be aware of maybe what comes next and those things. One of the other really big benefits of eating clean and eating those, traditionally thought of healthy foods can be that our micronutrient intake goes up. This can have a really big benefit in a lot of ways, but if we are deficient, if we are not getting enough of specific micronutrients within our diet, our body may not be functioning at its best. And that can be things like energy production, how we free up body fat to use as energy, how our cognitive function works, and a whole slew of other things. And so I think right off the bat, we have these really awesome, huge benefits of eating clean, of just eating our kind of traditionally healthy foods and making sure that we're getting a complete and balanced diet. And that can be an absolute wonderful thing. Fiber intake can go up, that can help with digestional health. Fiber may have some cardiovascular health benefits as well. So there's a ton of things that can be super duper beneficial about eating clean. So I do not want you to think that I am against eating clean. That is not the point of today's video. I am all about it. Make nutrient-dense, healthy food choices. Yes, that should absolutely, for probably almost all of us, just be the majority of our food intake. I like an 80-20 split. 20% of my food, every so often, that gives me time for a cupcake or a slice of cake or any other cake-related product because, your boy loves cake. Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. I love cake. However, when I say that eating clean might not be enough, those times absolutely exist. And those individuals absolutely exist. And here's my one main reason why. Sometimes eating clean and just making those healthy food choices, if all we're doing is just trying to specifically eat clean, we can get ourselves into a corner. And what I mean by that is our body will adapt to calorie intake. Regardless of whether we eat clean or we eat dirty, our body adapts, at least to a point. So if we are eating clean and calorie intake is low and our cardiovascular activity is high, our body adapts to that. It adjusts. Our metabolic rate adjusts to that. And so we now start maintaining weight at said lower calorie intake and maybe possibly higher cardiovascular output. And that's something we definitely want to be aware of because it can absolutely come back to bite us in the tush when it's time to diet again. And therefore, eating clean might not be enough. It's not that it's bad. It's not that it didn't do its job. And it's not that it didn't serve us a very positive, beneficial purpose. It most certainly does all of those things. We just want to learn that we might need to pay a little bit more attention after the fact. Because we can still eat clean and increase our calorie intake. That is absolutely something that can be done. We may have a lot of avocado, which is high in fat. That can increase our calorie intake. So we might do this unknowingly, but at a certain point, we probably also want to do this in a very knowingly direct fashion, a very intentional way. Something that we call a reverse diet. That's going to allow us to get out of our calorie deficit and start getting back into a surplus. So maybe for those of us who really want to work on building muscle, we probably want to be at the very least at maintenance, but in a slight surplus as well. We can still eat clean and be in that surplus. We just have to eat a little bit more. And so eating clean is this very broad term of kind of these generalized healthy food ideas. But most people oftentimes think of it as a way to lose weight instead of a healthy lifestyle intervention, right? And that's really, in my 2 cents, what it should be, is a healthy lifestyle intervention. Yes, we still want to eat fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, all that kind of good stuff. We don't necessarily need to take all the unhealthy or bad foods out of our diet. We just need to make sure that they are a minority in our diet and we utilize them in moderation. What I typically see and find with a lot of individuals is this. When we tell you, and this happens for me, as soon as you tell me I can't have or I can't do, guess what? That rebellious little boy within me sparks up and Contrarian Steve is born again. And I say, oh, I can't do that, can I? Wash, bet, 100% every single time. Now, even though I know that I can't have foods on a diet, I can, or somebody has told me that they're bad and they're not allowed, and my diet would benefit me or it's going to get me to the goal that I want, you've told me I can't have something. There's this little piece of Steve inside that says, bet. Honestly, it's why I'm here today. Doing what I do as a coach. Whew. But I think about that thing. I think about that no all the time. That thing I can't do. That thing that I have been doing my entire life that now is off limits completely. And so for a time, maybe I can behave myself. Maybe I can control. Maybe I can stick with the plan and cool, get some progress. But at some point in time, I'll tell you what's gonna happen. I'm going to go eat what I'm not supposed to eat. I'm gonna break, I'm gonna have that time. And high likelihood, if I haven't had it in a very long time, I'm probably gonna go a bit overboard. Now, that probably, I found for myself, is going to be a lot less optimal for me as opposed to maybe having it in moderation here and there and knowing that I'm allowed and it's okay and it can be part of my diet and I don't have to go overboard. It's still going to be there tomorrow. I can enjoy it in moderation to where it fits my total goals. And this is why I say eating clean might not be enough, because for some of us, cake is love, right? For some of us, cookies is that sweetness we need. Whatever it might be, whatever our interest, our food love might be. I like to call it my food wife, right? Cake is my food wife. I'm married to it. We got to stay together. So we want to be able to make sure that we can have that in our life in some respect, in some way, shape, or form, so that when it comes up, when the temptation hits and we fall, we choose to allow that to happen, lean on me. Cake is soft. It's a good thing to lean on. But we can have a piece. We don't have to go overboard. We don't have to have 4,000 or 5,000 calories worth of cake. We have a couple hundred calories worth of cake, and that's enough. That's good because we know that we can still have cake again later. It didn't ruin our diet or our life or anything of the sort. So some of the reasons that eating clean might not be enough is if we're just eating clean, we might not even be paying attention to our calorie intake. We might not be paying attention to our macronutrient intake. We might not be paying attention to some of the other things that can really help us to feel better, perform better, and get better results, which is super duper important. It may also be setting us up for failure in terms of our psychological interactions with food. How we look at food, labeling it as good and bad, having moral value associated with foods, which I think is always a dangerous thing, right? And then how we manage those things when we do finally have those foods again, when we are finally allowing ourselves to indulge, at least to a point. How do we control that? How do we use moderation? Those kind of things. So it's not that eating clean is bad. I do think the majority of our diet should be whole, nutrient-dense foods. Yes, absolutely. Those are wonderful things. However, we should not completely ignore other foods that exist, that are a part of our lives and a part of our lives for a reason. Especially when food tends to be a very social and emotionally impactful part of our lives because we shared those experiences with so many people so often. So, is eating clean bad? No! Is it enough? Well, it might not be.